Good morning, peoples. Back in Chiang Mai. I got to admit, coming back last night from Pattaya, we flew out last night around 1900, 7 o'clock p.m. Sorry. It felt like coming home. Like I was happy to get back to Chiang Mai. So that's very interesting. You know, you kind of look for things like that. Here's your sign. I was happy to be back in Chiang Mai, and it's funny because driving down there, I was like, man, there's crazy drivers down here. But I noticed there was more cars in southern Thailand, in Pattaya and Bang Saen Beach. There was more cars than motorcycles. There's plenty of motorcycles. They're all over Thailand, but there was a very high concentration of cars. It seems that everybody down in the south owns a car, as opposed to everybody up north owning a motorcycle. You know, there's 1.1 million people in Chiang Mai. I think 1.5 million, yeah, and I know that's more, own motorcycles. I mean, they're so when I got back, we just drove short distance, like 5 kilometers, if that, from the airport to this hotel, which I did a video on. It's a great place, the White Hotel, boutique hotel and spa. It's I'm doing a whole video I'll post on Great White Buddha. Great hotel. Really like this place. Much nicer than the place we had at the beach. So anyway, the traffic here is worse because of the motorcycles. The motorcycles are like little gnats. They're in and out. They cut you off. They cut across lanes. They come the wrong, driving the wrong lanes. Thai men. I talked a couple of times now in reference to COVID, that 60 people have died from COVID this whole year, and 26,000 people on average die motorcycle accidents. And the vast majority of that is Thai men, and the vast majority of those are drunk Thai men, right? That's just they're peacocks, and I talked about them in other videos and then all that, and their inferiority complex and whatnot. But the point is, the motorcycles in Chiang Mai actually make it more difficult to drive than down south. So driving in Thailand sucks because of the Thai drivers. They make it bad. They make it, you constantly have your head on a swivel. They're coming the wrong way down the road from Pai to Chiang Mai. Trucks come in 80 kilometers, 100 kilometers an hour down in your lane. I mean, you always got to be aware when you're making a corner that some idiot can be coming the wrong way in your lane, fast. You got to be ready to avoid them. So it's a challenge to drive here, period. But Chiang Mai was actually worse. And it's weird because I really do like this town. I enjoy coming here. It's a welcome break from the daily life in Pai. But the drive 5 kilometers from here to there, I was like, wow, it's worse than down south. It's kind of like driving in New York City, or I drove in Miami, which is like driving in New York City. It's like a free-for-all. People the lanes mean nothing. The rent-a-car I had down south had a stay in your lane beep. Oh my God, that thing went off every 2 seconds because in Thailand, there really aren't lanes. I mean, you just, people just move over and you just move over. And once again, it was bad in Pattaya and Bang Saen. It was way worse. We were back in her little Suzuki when we came back to Chiang Mai. I picked the Suzuki up at the airport. Thank God, because that thing in the 5 kilometers from the airport to here, that thing would have gone off like the whole time. It's just, Things are really fucked up. I will do a whole video on driving in Thailand, but just to give you an idea, it's the design. It's not very well thought out. So they drive on the other side of the road. Once again, I'm not going to be, ethnocentric and say wrong side of the road. To them, we drive on the wrong side of the road, right? So they drive on the opposite side of the road. So instead of in a 2-lane, or instead of being on the right-hand side, you're on the left-hand side. So on a 3-lane superhighway or motor highway, motorway, they call it here, same thing. You're driving on this side, left side, darling. T-Rex. I'm doing the video. I get away with this. So the fast lane is now the right lane because you're you're in the left lane. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but normally in America, you would, if there's two lanes, you'd be going on this lane and the traffic going this way would be this way. It's reverse here. So now you're in this lane, or lanes going this way. And instead of the left lane being the fast lane and the right lane being your exit lane here in America, over here, the right lane is the fast lane. And it's also the exit lane, especially for U-turns. So anywhere that you would have a U-turn, you would have a traffic light. Usually in America, you pull up to the light and you have your own lane, a right lane, and you make the turn with the traffic light and then come left or right. Here, there is no U-turn lane. So you just stand in the fast lane. You just bring your car to a complete stop, and there's a popular U-turn, so there's a backup of cars waiting to turn. So you're driving along 80, 100 kilometers an hour, 50 to whatever, 60, 70 miles an hour, and you got to swing over into the middle lane or the slow lane to go around the cars waiting to make the U-turn, because there's no traffic light there. It's just, and these are major highways and roads, busy roads with lots of traffic, lots of people trying to U-turn. It's worth your life to make a U-turn. And then, of course, what are you turning into? When you're making your turn from the fast lane here into this lane, remember everything's backwards. So over here, coming this direction, that's the fast lane. So you're making a U-turn into the fast lane. That's just one example. Like I said, it rates its own video. She watches the news every single night, and every night I see a Thai man in a motorcycle, on a motorcycle, getting into an accident, running into the back of a truck, cutting people off, getting hit. Just, every single night. 26,000 a year die. That's over 2,000 a month, every month. Die, and it's worth around New Year's, because like I said, the drinking affects it. So yes, the driving in Chiang Mai is an absolute challenge. Now, here's one answer. Learn how to ride a scooter. Rent a scooter, buy a scooter cheap at home, or wait till you get here, which I don't recommend, but you do what you got to do, because they're cheaper here, because they're all over the place. You can get a used scooter for 10,000 baht, $300, and just ride it around the parking lot and practice parking and everything that you did when you first got a car, and get good on the scooter. I'm just sticking with cars. I've I got her a little Suzuki. When I sell my house in Jacksonville, I'll be buying a truck, a Toyota pickup, and I'll have that thing the rest of my life. 500,000 baht for a fairly new truck. I never buy new because of depreciation. It's worth 30% less the minute you drive it off the lot. I'll never invest in something that loses 30% in the first hour I own it. So even Toyotas, they probably don't depreciate 30%, because Toyota's a good brand and it has lower depreciation than other cars, but it just doesn't. Why buy new? It never ever makes sense with a car to buy new, to me at least. So I can buy one 2-3 years old, 40,000 to 60,000 miles on it, for 15 grand, 500,000 baht. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a fairly new truck, and I'm done. That's it. I'll have that truck the rest of the time I'm here. Those things last forever. If you change the oil, take care of them, keep them clean, and I'll be done. And it'll have a lot more power than the 1 liter, 1,000 cc Suzuki with a little motorcycle engine. Now the Suzuki, I hope she keeps it, because it has its uses. It gets in and out of tight places and things like that. So, small alleys, there's a lot of tight places that Suzuki comes in handy. But for most people, most people aren't my size, number one. I'm a large mammal. Still, even with all the weight I lost, I'm over 260 pounds. That's big. But if you're a normal 150, 170 pound person, whatever, 5'8", normal size person, you can ride a scooter. You can get by on the little motorcycle. Obviously, gas mileage is better. They're better in and out. And like I said, you can become one of the gnats. You can become one of the mosquitoes and wave in and out of traffic. When traffic is backed up, that U-turn scenario I talked about, it's much easier for a bike to get around those cars and keep going in the direction. I see it all the time. They don't stop. Where we're backed up waiting in traffic because we got cars in front of us and we're in a car, the motorcycles just go around. So that's the preferred method of travel in Southeast Asia. So for most people, I would recommend getting a bike. Me, I'm going to get the truck. It's what I'm comfortable with. It's what I like to drive. I'm not going to learn the scooter here. If there's going to be an accident, and I want to be in the truck, not on the bike when there's an accident. And I know there's going to be an accident because of the way people drive here. Somebody's going to cut me off. I won't be able to react in time. I'm going to hit them. When that accident occurs, between the truck and the bike, I want to be in the truck. That's just me. Once again, rambled on 10 minutes, so I'll just make this a video on I don't know what. We're in a nice hotel, Chiang Mai in general, driving in Chiang Mai. Maybe this will be part 1 of driving in Chiang Mai because I talked about driving a lot, but I do want to show some videos of the news and stuff and just show you crazy shit that'll make you shake your head, because seeing is worth a 1,000 words, and I want you to see, I don't know, pictures or video or whatever, some of the driving here in Thailand. So this will be driving part 1. Just like I said, me personally, I'm going to get a truck, but for most people, a bike is the way to go. A lot of the roads are very small. It's very congested with the traffic, 1 million people in a small space. So I think that's it. I think Chiang Mai is more densely populated than the south. I think there's more people packed in a smaller area, which is what makes the traffic worse up here. Still, I don't see myself moving down south. I'll probably stay in the north, probably in Chiang Mai. Time will tell. But I want to do the book. I'll do it a separate video. I'm not going to start it 12 minutes in. So this is part 1 of driving in Thailand, driving in Chiang Mai. Keep your head on a swivel. Go slower than you think. GPS sometimes gets fooled. There's a lot of turnoffs and stuff like that. U-turns are crazy. It goes on and on. I'll do more on driving in Thailand.